Zach Mealim.
All right.
How are you?
Not great. Suffered a big loss yesterday.
What happened?
Torquay lost.
Wasn't a big game, was it?
Humongous game. Playoff final. But looking ahead to the future.
Oh, what is in the future then, my friend?
Couple of weeks' time, I've got my first 100-mile race.
I don't think that's doing it justice, really, is it? How far is it really?
110 miles. It's like 10 extra.
Which is in kilometres?
180k.
And what's the date?
23rd of May.
So that's what? It's
13 days. So right now, I'll potentially still be running in 2 weeks' time.
If all goes to plan, you shouldn't be. You should be finished.
No, it should be finished about 3 hours ago.
And what made you want to do the 110 mile?
It was a continuation of, did my 100k last year. That went really well. And I don't think I was pushed to my limits during the race. So maybe this one will push me to my limits.
And with the 100k you did. So when did you start running?
Be 2 years in June, 2 years in July.
So you're new to it. You've only been running 2 years, and you're already sitting at what, in 2 weeks' time, running 110 miles.
Yeah, it's not really
That's
a wise
incredible.
decision.
That is incredible. Oh, it depends how you've periodized it. And we'll get to that further on down the line. But that's incredible. So what made you start then?
I started running just to lose weight. It was a bit of a chubster, and I didn't realise it at the time. But I was weighing like 98 kilo.
How tall are you?
6'2".
At 21 years old you were?
Yeah. And I just started running to lose a bit of weight, get in a calorie deficit. And I realised that I loved it.
And what sort of runs were you doing?
The first run that I went out was a 10k. I just thought, I'll just do 10k and see how it goes. And it went all right. And then I was like, right, I'll just do it quicker next week and carry on.
So you did like one 10k every week?
Yeah. Maybe I'd throw in a 5k on the weekend, but...
Why did you choose 10 rather than 5 to start, or even a kilometre?
Everyone does 5.
So you want to be different?
Yeah.
Or you just want to do more?
I think I do have a bit of that about me, where I do want to do more than people normally do. I always want to be the hardest worker, possibly to my detriment at times, but I like knowing that I've given my all.
So you didn't even start doing a 5k, you just assumed you're like,
I knew I could run a 5k. I was pretty confident I could do a 5k from playing football. I thought I had some sort of fitness before going into the 10k.
Assuming then you would value, I suppose, based upon your kind of the 110 mile you're doing, is that you value the distance rather than the time.
Yeah.
Why is that?
How cool is it that you can go from A to B on your feet? Doesn't matter how fast you do it. I could go 100 miles up the road on my feet. I find that amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So, but even starting at 5 to 10k, it was more about the distance rather than the time.
Yeah, I mean, when I first did that 10k, I was like, oh, if I do it in around an hour, I think that's a respectable time. And then I thought, okay, well, if you can do it a bit quicker, that means you can run for longer. It was more, I can run further rather than I can run that 10k quicker.
Yeah. Okay. And what point did you start losing weight?
Pretty much within that first month, I would have seen results, and I just carried on. I knew.
As in, and when you carried on, was it that you carried on just running a 10k quicker, or you then started to add kilometres?
No, I started to add kilometres.
How soon was that?
It would have been after that first month, yeah, when I'd start adding a run on the weekend as well. So I was doing that 10k midweek, and then I'd run on the weekend. And then I'd probably throw another one in.
And was that an intense 10k as well? Were you running at like a RP 9 out of 10? Were you running?
Yeah, that was pretty much.
You would max out every single week until you didn't see progress anymore, or
until I started dreading that 10K.
Right, because it was so traumatizing.
Yeah.
I did that as well with my 5K. I think I did the exact same thing. And just every single Saturday, I got myself hyped up because I knew I would cut off a minute each time I run until there was a point where I'm like, I'm knocking off 5 seconds. And I'm like, that wasn't worth the trauma.
You're going to plateau eventually. I think I do think everyone does that. And I think that's why so many people stop running, because they're like, I hate running. It's like, yeah, that feeling is not nice. Where you are pushing yourself to the limit.
I agree.
That is not nice.
No. Okay. And so you started to lose weight. You added in more kilometers. Did you get any injuries from doing that?
No. When I was training for the army, which was a bit before that, there was a 2-kilometer test that you had to do. And I wasn't running in like running shoes or whatever. I would just go out, and this was like every month. You just had to do it once a month in the process to try and join. And I got shin splints from that. But apart from that, I didn't have any injuries when I was starting.
Do you reckon that's to do with, do you reckon that's to do with your fitness levels, or maybe your age has helped with that as well?
Yeah, potentially. I think because I was lifting weights at the time as well, I never have neglected that strength training.
Has that been quite a key part of your training?
It's like 2 leg sessions a week minimum.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the case.
Yeah.
If you want to up your mileage, I think.
Yeah.
And the amount of miles that I sort of try and get in, I think, without strength training, you're not going to be able to do that.
Okay, and let's continue to stay around then. You're sitting at 21 and you're increasing your mileage. Did you have a goal of where you wanted to be, or was it just the fact that you fell into love for running? Or
I think I always wanted to do a marathon. I think that's like a bucket list, like fitness goal. There's different like fitness goals that I think I have for myself, and a marathon was one of those. And I knew I could do 10K. So then, naively, perhaps, I thought, well, I can do double that. So I can do a half. If I can do a half, I can do a full.
So how quickly did you do a half after running? After just started running?
2 months. It wasn't pretty. I had no clue what I was doing.
What was your time?
2 hours 45 for a half.
Oh,
which is like,
you throw yourself in the deep end, don't you? It took me 2 years to do a half finally, and that's incredible. You did it in 2 months.
But the time I was like, that was potentially one of the hardest runs I've done.
And we just want to say now, your half marathon time would be now sitting at
1:30.
It's incredible, that, isn't it? Yeah. So, okay, so you then did a half, and quickly, so you're 6 months into running. What's your average kilometers at that time? A week?
In the build up to that marathon, I think it peaked at like...
When did you do the marathon?
October. So that was, 4 months after starting.
So you ran 2 months later the half, 2 months after that the full. Mental. So after that half, how did you feel after the half?
Amazing. It was so hard, but that was like...
That kind of...
Yeah, that was a buzz. Like, you're out your comfort zone. I loved it.
Okay, and then you booked the marathon.
Yeah.
And how many kilometers were you doing a week?
I think that first block peaked at like 60 or 70K a week.
It ramped up quick. Did you deload after your half?
I think I must have taken a rest or like for a week or so. But to be honest, after that half, I was just like, you've got to get better. I never want to feel like that during a half
you got
again.
Humbled.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's been quite a lot of your training that's been quite naive, and actually do you look back at it and think,
100%. We know this block has been so naive.
We're going to go to that. So if you've got someone who's looking to get into running now, obviously running's massive now, it's blown up. What would you tell someone based upon your experience of now you're 2 years in, you're going for a 100-miler? What would you tell someone who is just getting into running?
I would say prioritize. That's a massive contradiction. Prioritize time over distance. I think you've got to earn the right to be able to run a large amount of kilometers. I think you have to build up gradually. Like the rule that I've always used is 10% a week. You can't go over 10% a week. Then that's when you start getting into injury territory, especially if you're starting running the same way I did with trying to lose weight. Those two do not go hand in hand. I would say fueling. If you're not fueled and you're not having enough calories, everyone is going to be miserable.
Yeah, you are eating a lot, aren't you? I think you're coming from a different background as well, because you love running. And I think the difference is you love it so much that actually less is more in your case. Whereas if you told me less is more, I'd just do less and I'd find it very easy. But for you find it very hard, don't you?
Yeah, I find it, if you told me to run 100 kilometers in a week, that would be so much easier than running nothing or running 20 kilometers in a week.
It's interesting. Okay, so you did the marathon. How was that?
Hard again. And straight after, I can remember saying to Alex, saying to my mum and my dad, I'm never doing that again. And my mum actually texted me back straight away, and she said, like, I think her actual message was Iron Man next. So, like, my mum knew, like, that wasn't the end there.
No.
So
it's impressive your mum knew what Iron Man was as well.
Yeah, I'd gone on about it to her. So.
Okay. Would you do an Iron Man? You haven't done one yet?
100%. Yeah, that's on my.
I've got one next year, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
If you want to
get on that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Right. So, what time did you get in the marathon?
Just over 4 hours. It was 4 hours 46 seconds, which eats me up even now.
So you are quite still. I guess it's interesting, isn't it? Because you are quite time competitive, but over a long distance.
Yeah. I think, like, I'll say, I reckon if I got sub 4 hours, I don't think I'd have that drive that I do now. Where, in terms of competing with myself, I know what that felt like to miss out by 46 seconds. I was like, that's never happening again.
And what did you do differently after your marathon that you weren't doing before?
I had a set route for my long runs. This is just like something small that always comes to mind.
Yeah.
I had a set route for my long runs, and on the way back, I'd always miss the hill. I never missed that hill. Never.
You do a lot of hill training now, don't you?
Yeah.
You do a lot. Is that because you were training easier before and just getting used to just in regards to the elevation, and then when it came to the actual thing, you realised that you weren't.
Yeah,
ready?
for ultra training, I think elevation is key, especially in like a race that I'm doing, which is hillier. For a marathon, it's not as much. Still important, I think, to do. Obviously, some marathons have more elevation than others, but yeah, I also think to be able to run over different terrains, that is so important. When you speak about going from A to B, you're not going to be doing that the whole time on road.
Yeah.
You got to tackle different terrain, different circumstances.
Yeah. So you basically trained that specificity towards your race a lot more.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you did as well?
I just increased my mileage. It just
to what?
ramped
At
up.
what point? So you finished in October. You've been running for 6 months.
I did a 50k in January.
Right. So pretty quickly, 2 months.
Yeah.
After the marathon,
I had a bit of an injury actually after that marathon.
Straight after or during?
During. So that race, I remember a kilometre in. Well, it was like the week before. I felt like a pain in my knee. And I thought, oh, good timing.
Run it off.
Yeah. And a kilometre in, I felt that pain there. And I remember distinctly thinking during that marathon, because my stomach had a bit of a turn as well, 10k in. And I remember thinking about, like 10k, would I rather shit myself or would I rather my knee blow out? That was a genuine conversation I was having in my head.
I know the answer to that for you. I definitely know the answer. Because one of them you can carry on running and one of them you can't. So,
well, yeah, I'd rather shit myself.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So you had an injury just after, and then you decided to book a 50k.
No, I just did that by myself.
Right. Was that planned?
Yeah. I said to Alex that in January, I was like, I'm going to run a 50K this year. There's like a New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution in the same month of that you kind of like, at the start of the year, you just said, I'm going to book a 50K, I'm going to do one, and you know what, I'll do it in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And how was that?
So much better than the marathon. I during that 50K, I was like, I'm getting a sub-4 marathon in that as well, which I did. What
was that down to? Because there would have been a lot of difference between...
I think knowledge of just what's to come is going to get hard. You've just got to grin and bear it for that. It's not going to stay hard that whole time. It's going to ease off. It's going to get harder. You've just got to get through that 2 kilometers, maybe 5 kilometers max of it being horrible to the point where like you want to stop. You just got to keep going.
Oh, and then when you say it's horrible, is that mentally? Is that physically? Is that aerobically? Is that
physically?
As in your joints? Is it, because most people haven't got to that stage where they understand what that feels like.
Yeah, I'd say physically, your breathing's heavy.
What heart rate are you hitting at this point?
Probably you're pushing on 180.
Really? Over how long?
It might stay at that for 5K, then it calms back down. It might have gone up for whatever reason. You've hit a hill, or you've taken even like on a caffeine gel when you're not meant to, or
right.
That can affect you.
Yeah.
You haven't eaten properly. I think that was part of the marathon as well. I hadn't fueled properly. I didn't know enough about that, and now I think that's one of the best things I do. Okay,
so right, we're moving into this. So really, you started at 21 naively. You fell in love with something and didn't respect it, and you've absolutely smashed the distance, and luckily kind of got away with not a lot of injuries, right? You're learning a lot, but also you weirdly haven't had a lot of errors as well. No. So you've had a lot of hard times, but you haven't had a lot of, so as a result, you're kind of still thinking you're untouchable here?
Yeah, I still think I am now to a degree, even though I know I'm not.
Yeah, you've got like Hans Troyer who kind of thought that until he ended up getting some rhabdo, right? So that's also my job and our job is to, I'm trying to nudge Zach to get a coach as well, because it's a naive young adult who thinks he can conquer the world, which I love. I think it's great, and he is achieving a lot, and I'm here to support him. I also think getting him to do it without making the errors is probably okay. So we're then sitting in January. You've just finished your 50K. What is it your plans then?
Another marathon in April.
And where was that?
Stratford. And I don't know why I booked that. I think I just thought that was like the ceiling of running, even though I sort of knew it wasn't. I'd done a 50K. But I was like, let's just do another marathon. And I went into that naively again, thinking, I've done a 50K.
Did you peak up for it?
Yeah, but I was lazy with the train. That's the laziest I've been with my training.
How did you do?
Paid the price. It was a hot day, and I got 3 hours 57, which was slower than my 50K.
Was it harder? Was it hard, that one?
Yeah, that was. I'd say that could have even been harder than the first marathon.
The 4 hour 47.
Potentially, because I thought I'd breeze it, to be honest.
So there's a little bit of complacency after your 50K. You've then hit it and gone, I'm just going to be able to smash this sub 4 hour, right? Really interesting. And then, so you finish that, you've almost been running for almost a year, and you've done a 10K into a half, into a marathon, into a 50K, into another marathon, all in less than a year.
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost at this point?
I was sitting at 85 kilo going into that marathon.
And were you doing constant learning as well? Were you just going into it, experiencing it, or were you listening to podcasts, reading any books? Were you studying it, trying to extract information from people? Because you are quite inquisitive.
There's, I think you can learn something from everyone. So I listen to constant podcasts from endurance athletes. It doesn't have to just be runners.
What sort of people have you?
In the ultra running world, it'd be like Courtney DeWalter. Obviously got David Goggins as well, which polarizes opinions.
Still learn from him, though.
Exactly, you can learn from anyone. In like marathon running, you've got a lot of like the people who I actually watch that do marathons are influencers, because they're normal people that are just sort of on a similar journey to anyone else. But yeah, anyone I've tried to, the books that I've read, there's a Mark Cucuzella who wrote Run for Your Life, which is so interesting, talks a lot about our anatomy and like how to be more efficient while running. And yeah, scaling up different exercises to do. And
so you started, okay, so we're sitting at April and you've just done that Stratford Marathon. Was it April?
Yeah.
And then what did you look at? Where was your mindset at? Because you've kind of then done marathons. You kind of, this is almost the equivalent to you when you were younger of going 5Ks and just average. I don't want to be average. I want to be better. I want to be, you know. Did you then start experiencing the longer distances, or?
Well, on the lead up to that marathon, I saw that there was this 100k race that wasn't too far from Rugby, and I thought, okay, well, I'll use the Stratford Marathon as a bit of a training run then. And I had it in the back of my mind. I'd mentioned to my family, and they said, right, just see how the marathon goes. And the same thing, like again, straight after the marathon, I said, I'm not doing the 100k. I said, I'm not ready for it yet. And then I know exactly what happened. It's in my mind now. And this is like not a dig at my brother's girlfriend or anything. It's just a thing of, right, I'll prove you wrong. We were having tea at my mum and dad's afterwards. And I remember saying, it was hot today. It'll be hotter in August when the 100k is. I don't think I can do it. And she just went, no, I don't think so. And like, I just thought, right, yeah, I'll book it.
I completely agree. I think the biggest thing is to someone to doubt you or say you can't do something. And that's like, weirdly, in some cases, it's the biggest motivation. To others, though, it can be really discouraging massively. And I think the motivation and the drive for someone completely depends. If you know, you're a personal trainer, and if you encourage someone during a session, that might be quite good.
Yeah.
But if I'm training you and I say to you, I bet you can't do 10, or I don't think you can do it, what is it that drives you to then push towards that?
I think it's got to come from self-doubt within. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do 100 miles. But we're going to find out, aren't
we? You will do it. You will do it. Okay. And you booked that, when was that?
Last August.
Right. So you had a prep of a few months.
Yeah.
To do the 100k.
Yeah. So I took like a month off and then went into...
That's arguably the biggest gap, right?
Yeah.
That's you know, in regards to the distance and the time you've got, that's the biggest gap in your year. That would have been marked a year of your running, right? Yeah. And you would have gone from 0 to 100k. And what did your prep look like then? Did you start doing the right things? Because in all of this podcast so far, and people listen to, there's not a lot of like things you're doing right here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of areas, a lot of naivety, but you know, what you are doing is working really hard, and you're, you know, enjoying it, and you're being disciplined in a weird way.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rookie mistakes. Did you start clamping down on that?
I think it got more obsessive. Watching so many documentaries on the ultra runners and research. How many carbs can you take in an hour? Sodium levels. Hydration, and just what to drink, what to eat.
Equipment, running shoes.
Try every run. Okay, right. I'm going to try eating this on this run. Right, that doesn't work. Right, next thing. Just buying the right gear, everything. Just sort of went into that, and training in the hardest conditions possible. I remember just if it was a hot summer last year, and people said, oh, "Don't go running on that day." No, go running on that day.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder than the actual race.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I?
Yeah, for sure. Make training as hard as you can, so the event's as easy as possible, right? Yeah. Makes sense. So what, after you finished, what were your kilometers at? What your distances were? What were you kind of running a week? Were you running 50K, 60K? Were you?
For that race, I peaked at 125K for a week. I was averaging about 80 to 100 probably.
80K is a good benchmark for a marathon, isn't it? If you're running 80K a week, you're kind of good for, okay. And then you peaked at 125, and then an event on like race day, how did you feel?
I was confident. I went in to win that. And that was naive as well. I said, I'll win that. I'd looked at the course record and I thought, I can hold that.
How did you do?
Finished 5th
out of
50 people. I'm a big believer, like, aim for the stars, land on the moon. Like,
what time did you get?
Just over 12 hours.
What did the winner get?
11 hours. Yeah, I think it was pretty much bang on 11.
It's incredible. It's incredible. How did it feel when you were doing it?
Loved it. That was like the best day of my life.
So that was the best event you've ever done. Why was it any better than?
I felt so prepared. I've like done the research. My family was there. So obviously, like, getting checkpoints, that's different to a marathon. Okay, you might see your family, but you have a crew, which I was lucky enough to have my family come along and support.
You're quite into F1 as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Did you feel a bit like a Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, like in a pit lane. Yeah, pull in, little pit stop, have a few squashies, off I go. No, it was just like, right, okay. It was like the checkpoints were every like 15K or so. So I was like, right, just run 15K. And you'll see your family again, run another 15K.
Yeah.
And it was just constant like that.
Would you say it was a bit of, you felt confident, you felt good because you prepped and you enjoyed it the most because you earned the right to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Unlike your other ones?
I also felt as well, like, I've got the confidence that if I go to like a dark place in a race, you can get yourself out of it. So I knew, like, this is probably going to get bad at some stage. You just got to crack on.
Okay. Yeah. And that really like ignited the fire then of you getting into ultramarathons.
Yeah. That was it then. I was like, yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, 100%. So
then what did you do after 100K? Did you have a bit of a deload? You've been running a year now and you've done 2 marathons, 50K, a half marathon and 100K.
Yeah. I had a deload. We went down to Cornwall for a week off, and just chilled out. Like, afterwards, you feel completely drained. It is a very strange feeling.
For how long?
Oh, I wouldn't say I felt normal for 2 weeks. Your body's fried, so all it wants to do is sleep and eat.
Yeah.
And even stringing a sentence together, even holding a conversation with someone is like a lot for the brain.
How did you find that? Because you've been running every week, running 50, 60, 70K, peaking up to 125K a week. How did you find not running for a bit after the 100K? Even a few days afterwards, were you itching to get running again?
Yeah, I did run a week after down in Cornwall. And it felt hard. Because I wasn't recovered yet.
What were you running, like 5, 10Ks?
Yeah, I did a 10K. And it was pretty hilly down there as well. But I enjoyed that. And
you enjoy the hills now. Zach just, when he sees a hill, he just runs up it now. He just, like, no matter where we go, we went to the Malverns and did like a little practice run for a 100 miler. And we were, we did about 33K, but the elevation should have been between 1200 and 1500. But we ended up doing 1700 just because any hill we saw, we'd be like, let's just run up that and then back down. Let's just run up that and back down. And we're just like hamster in a ball, weren't we?
Mindless.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay. So you were deloading for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Oof.
What was your mind at? Where were you thinking? You just hit arguably the best feeling of your life with the best race.
Yeah.
And clearly, like a dog with a bone, you're going to go, right, I want to do that again.
Yeah. I think I started searching for bigger races, for 100-mile races. I think I was even looking at them when I hadn't even finished the 100K. During that block, I'd started looking in like my taper weeks. I was like, right, what can I do next? After that, because you've spent so much time just building your aerobic base, I wanted to get quicker.
Yeah.
So it was 5K time. I was like, right, if I can get a sub 25K, which I found easier than I thought I would.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, your aerobic capacity though is insane. Like your basis, is unbelievable.
But like, I did barely any speed work during my 100K, but yeah, I could run 5K in under 20 minutes.
What did you get?
It's 1957. So
with the amount of running you've done, did you ever run a sub 20-minute 5K before that?
No.
So you got 1957, you just scraped it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so you wanted to work on the speed because you wanted to be more competitive? It was now about winning more than it was about just running?
Yeah, it's not about taking part anymore. You're not there to just see if you can complete it. It's what can you do?
Okay. It got serious. And then, so what did you do then? Did you get 100-miler books at that point, a few months?
No. Those months were just like, well, I'll just see how I feel.
Sitting with it.
Yeah, decided to do the Christmas Eve marathon.
Yes, was that same year?
Yeah.
So Zach's been working here for what, 6 months?
Yeah, just a bit over. Last October, wasn't it?
Last October. So when we had a phone call with you, Zach, you didn't mention that you ran 100K. He didn't really sell himself. And I had to dig for it. And then he kind of was like, oh yeah, I did some running for charity. I was like, how far did you go? And he went 100K. And I was like, you ran 100. There's we need to stop normalizing even running a marathon. Is normal. It's not.
No.
It's unbelievable to even run a marathon, even run a half marathon, but 100K. I thought, oh my God, this guy, he's not even told me during a half an hour interview. And then I, for charity on Christmas Eve, decided to
row a marathon,
trying to get sub 3 hour, which was just bagged it. But you just rocked up and ran a marathon.
Yeah.
In what time?
3 hours 17.
Now, probably is your understanding here, if you listen to this, is that Zach's just winging it. Now, we're both doing marathons and different things. I did the row here. He did it just down the road. On the same day, I'm here. I've got my gels. I've got my sweets. I'm hydrated. I've got my sleep. I'm all ready. I'm not going for another hour and a half. I've got everything prepped. Zach rocks up. He's got a hole in his leggings. He's just got out of bed. He just rocks up. He only just decided that he was going to run around the race course.
Night before,
and he just runs around the same bit 16 times.
16 times.
And he's just there, sitting there, just on his phone, just getting ready. And I'm like, how you feeling? And he just goes,
yeah, all right.
And then he goes and absolutely smashes it. I find it unbelievable. I find it that is, you rocked up. I think you started before me, so you came back in. Just like fine, all right, 3 hours 17. How hard was that?
It was all right. The hardest part was about midway through. I was like, I don't really want to do another 8 laps of this. It got a bit mind-numbing, but my family, once again, they turned up, and my brother ran a lap with me.
Would it have been hard without your family?
Yeah, because I would have had another 4 laps or so, I think.
Yeah.
When they got there. So yeah, 100%. It would have been harder, and then I was just like, right, just crack on for the last bit. Once my brother had done a lap with me, I was like, 3 laps. That's all right, isn't it?
How did your brother feel after doing that lap?
He was, he was struggling a bit, but no, he did well to run that. Like, yeah, he's not even a runner, and he managed to hold the pace. So
Were you chatting with him, or were you just?
Yeah, I'd chat with him. And
what did your heart rate average over that 3 hours 17?
165, something like that.
So you kind of just crept into threshold.
Yeah,
so that's incredible. Yeah, so you could have gone faster.
Yeah, 100%. If I was in a race, I would have gone faster.
Are you bothered by doing a sub 3 hour marathon anytime soon?
Yeah, but that's more because I know if I get a sub 3 hour marathon, I'll be better in ultras.
Fine. So the drive for you to get a sub 3 hour isn't because you want a sub 3 hour.
No.
Because you want to be quicker at those ultras. Backyard ultra?
100%. Yeah. There's one in September, but I've promised Alex I'll take some time off after this.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Alex is Zach's very supportive girlfriend. So you then booked in Christmas Eve, you did the marathon, and then you're thinking, what's next?
100 miler was booked by then.
When was the 100 miler booked?
Black Friday, because I had a Black Friday deal on.
And then the 100 miler was booked they give you 6 months prep.
Yeah.
At that point, what was the main differences that you did from coming up to this marathon that you did around the race course? It's been almost a year and a half since you've been running. What were the main things that you've done differently from when you started in regards to habits to make you a better runner?
Ooh. My eating, I'm no longer trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to sustain. So it's eating as much as possible, really.
What are you eating?
It's like 6 meals a day. I'd have a yogurt bowl in the morning, yogurt bowl for pudding. I'll have, it'll be some pasta or rice dish probably for lunch, big bowl of oats, scrambled egg on toast, and then I'll have, pasta or rice dish for tea. Routine is what I thrive off.
Yeah, you don't like change much, do you?
No.
I mean, to be honest, it's probably the best thing for you though, isn't it, in regards to doing your training? So you're eating, your sleeping was always good?
Sleeping, I've struggled with my sleep for the last few years. I'm not a very quiet sleeper. I sleep talk a lot. My brain is constantly going. I find it very hard to just shut off, which is why
you like the running.
I love running because that's when I'm at peace.
Yeah. Okay. So your sleep's questionable. Your carbohydrate intake's massively gone up. You've lost the weight now. And what point did you lose the weight?
By that first marathon, I'd lost it. I was down to like 82 kilo. The lowest I got was like 76.
Yeah.
I got right down, and then I was like, I can't sustain this.
Yeah.
I can't sustain it this way.
Okay. And what about your training methodology? Because you were just shooting from the hip for about a year, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did that change, or did you start to go, right, I'm obsessed with this now. I need to be good at understanding how many kilometers I'm doing.
Yeah.
So did you start to get?
Yeah, I took everything from the 100K block that went well and threw it then into my overall sort of way of training.
What did that look like? What was your training then?
Build up. So 4 weeks in a row, I'd build up, then I'd deload. I'd go. That deload week would then be that first week of the 4. So say if you go 90, 100, 110, 120, you then go back to 90.
Fine.
Then start the next build at 120 and just build up.
Fine. Would that include elevation? Would you include kind of speed work?
In my 100K, I didn't include elevation. I had one speed session every other week, which it wasn't even... it was more like a VO2 builder than anything else.
Yeah.
And the hills, it was only 1,000 meters of elevation in the 100K, so I didn't need to particularly practice on the hills much. I did a bit, but not a lot.
Okay. So your nutrition, your sleep, your training. Obviously, the big thing here as well is your job and your partner at this time as well, because we've been talking about your running, but what's going on then with your job at this point?
I was pretty bored in my last job.
Did that help your training?
Yeah, because I was doing an 8-hour shift and I would get home and felt like I hadn't worked. I was sat behind the desk for most of it, just
not stimulated.
No, just chilling out. If I had spare time, I'd just be searching stuff to do with running, or I'd be training, and I would come home feeling pretty fresh, pretty demotivated.
Yeah.
But then, if anything, that demotivation helped, because I was like, right, I want to do something with my day. I'm going to get out.
For sure. Run. Do you reckon you would have stayed at that job if you had 100-miler booked? You would have just gone into running more, or were you at the point with that job where you? No,
I had to leave that. I wasn't getting any fulfillment from that. I knew that what I wanted to do, which was to help people, I wasn't going to do as much as I potentially could at that job. And regardless of being able to run, I also wanted to do other things with my life.
Yeah. Which is massively important, I think. And, you've got a really healthy relationship. How do you manage to do that with that many kilometers? That it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, how is it you manage to do that?
I can't speak highly enough of Alex. Like, she has put up with some shit. Like, the first marathon even, that was over in Sweden. She come with me over to Sweden.
That was in Sweden?
Yeah.
Oh my God, she missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
And she came to watch?
She came to watch.
Is she sick of it now though?
I don't know if she's sick of it. She'll say she is, but I don't know if she's joking or... Do you know what? I think she would love for me to have a few months off. But at the same time, she knows that for me mentally, training is so important. And I don't think I'd be as good a person without training.
Yeah, or without Alex.
Or without Alex.
So what have you had to do then to... for that relationship to withhold the amount of kilometers as well? Because have you had to do anything as well? As much as Alex has been amazing rock and support, what about yourself?
I think I've learned in the last year, especially, that when you're together, that has to be quality time and not just on my phone looking at videos of people running or searching more about running.
Do you think that could be, because you said that to me before, you said to be more present, because do you reckon you could just easily fall into just...
Yeah, I think if I didn't hold myself accountable to that, then I could just spend my time running and not even... I think there's two people in a relationship, and Alex is sacrificing for me with coming to these races, even just dealing with me, because there's a lot that your body goes through when you're training for an ultra. You're so tired that I would get back and
she might have a plan.
Yeah,
she might go, she might say, let's go and see friends, and you're just a complete vegetable.
Yeah, I'm done. Let me sleep. Like, let me nap.
Does she let you do that?
Yeah, but she will.
Is there sometimes where she's like...
Of course, she'll get annoyed sometimes, and she's got every right to. She didn't sign up to this. When we first got together, I was a chubby lad who, like, I wanted a takeaway.
Does she ever turn around and go, bring back the chubby lad who stops running?
Yeah, I mean, whether that's her opinion, I don't know, but whether she might want that deep down, I'm sure she'd like if I was a bit more...
I'm pretty sure she just wants you to be happy, mate.
Yeah, less stringent of like not allowing us to have a Chinese. Like,
are you? With your takeaways, do you guys have takeaways together? And
nah, if we...
Surely with the amount you're running, you can get away with it.
Yeah, but it's the quality of the food, isn't it?
Yeah, it affects your sleep.
Yeah.
And
I there's a restaurant that I love in Rugby, Baco Lounge, and that's like our treat to go there after the Malverns. That's where we went.
So that's no fajitas for you after the Malverns then.
Oh no, I still got fajitas as well.
Yeah, of course. What is it you guys do then to have quality time?
Well, I think
you like to go to see a lot of
yeah, we would go and at the moment we're on a bit on a rampage of like animal experiences.
What have you done so far?
Capybara feeding experience and alpaca walking.
Give us a fun fact to capybaras.
Capybaras are the largest rodent in the world, and rodent just means that your teeth constantly grows. It's not that they're dirty or live in sewers. Capybaras can also hold their breath for 30 minutes underwater at a time.
How much does a capybara weigh?
60 kilos.
That's mad.
They're massive.
They
truly are the largest rodent.
Okay, so you like, going to things, is it her booking it or is it yourself?
So the capybara one was a surprise for her birthday. And then the alpaca one was, I wanted to go to Trenton Monkey Forest, which is in Stoke, which we went to a couple of years ago. It is amazing. I would recommend to anyone.
Taking a trip to Stoke.
Yeah.
I think
don't go to Stoke.
I think Stoke's ranked as one of the smelliest cities in the UK.
Yeah, but go to the Monkey Forest.
Yeah,
it's better than the actual place.
Yeah.
But, that was cool. You just get free roaming monkeys. But so I wanted to go there, but the babies haven't been born yet this year. They get born early summer. So Alex said, why don't we save that for the summer, and searched up another one, and then she booked the alpaca walking.
Nice. How was that?
Oh, really cool. They're just like massive dogs.
Which are the ones that spit? Is it alpacas or?
Yeah, well, an alpaca, when we first got there, one did spit at Alex, but it's not spitting at her, it was spitting at one of their mates saying, get back, and she got caught in the crossfire. Had a bit of grass on her head.
Okay. Right, so let's talk a bit about the 100 you call it 100 miler, but it's definitely 110 miler.
It is 110,
so
yeah.
what's it called?
Hardmoors, 110 miles. They do multiple events. So yeah, I think there's a 60, 110 and a 200 taking place this year.
In 13 days' time, how are you feeling for it?
I feel confident. I know that training hasn't gone to plan, but what's done is done. There's no point crying about it now. Just got to crack on.
This is true. Yeah, it's too late. Too late now. What is it you're doing it for?
So I'm raising money for CALM, which is a suicide prevention charity, campaign against living miserably. Mental health is something that I struggled with. I still do struggle with. I don't think you ever don't. And it's something very close to my heart. And yeah, that's the charity I've raised money for in all my races. Yeah.
And why is that? What made you, at what point did you struggle mentally? And
I think I was a very anxious kid, and it's not until like you look back now, you're like, oh, maybe you had a bit of like anxiety, mate, or whatever. But I think everyone does struggle with their mental health at points, but then actually having depression or anxiety, that's a different thing. And when I was coming to the end of secondary school, that's when I first went to a doctor. I remember texting my mum one night and said, I was on my way home, and said, can I speak to you? And I felt really low. And spoke with her, and she booked the doctor's appointment, which we went to. And at that point, I was against taking medication. I didn't want to take medication, nor did I don't believe I needed to at that time. And then I was doing counselling sessions at school, which was very helpful for me. But I think anyone would benefit from speaking about their problems, no matter how big or small they think it is. And from there, I felt better leaving school, but I'd say one of the toughest periods of my life was when I then went to a college over in Birmingham and was playing for Hardmoors. And I probably felt pretty lonely, and I didn't get the help there. And yeah, that was pretty tough, but I was there for 2 years, and I knew that, right, I got through those 2 years. That made me more resilient. And then I think my mental health probably got better after leaving there. Then it took another dip, started taking medication.
Why did it take a dip afterwards?
I think I wasn't looking after myself. That's why I put on the weight. I originally wanted to put on weight to be bigger. I was small or skinny when I came out of school. I was like 70 kilo, and I did not care about if it was muscle, if it was fat. I just wanted to be bigger. So I ate everything during COVID, during that lockdown. Anything that mum put in the cupboard, it was getting eaten. And yeah, that's what I got up to.
Bills going up.
Yeah, like I got up to well over 90 kilo then. And for a while I thought, oh yeah, I look good at this weight. And I don't think it's until now you look back, you're like, you were not looking after yourself, mate. I was eating shit and not training as much, which is what I was doing in COVID. I was training like, it was like 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And I was just doing like stupid like workouts that you'd find on YouTube or whatever. It's just not even training to that extent. It's just like exercising, isn't it? It's and then,
you had that low dip. So do you reckon you felt quite low during Solihull Moors because you felt lonely?
Yeah, I think I felt lonely and I felt like I had no direction. I think I was so set on like, I had the dream of being a pro footballer and I wasn't good enough. And then it was realising that.
Playing for a quality club like something like Torquay or something you're trying to go for?
The dream. I wouldn't want to be there right now. That would be miserable in that changing room.
Yeah. And then so that sense of direction as well?
Yeah. Purpose is massive.
Did you talk to people about it? Did you have a network? I know you're close to your mum. Did you have quite a good tight-knit family and friends?
Yeah. My mates, I'd say I've struggled speaking to my mates about how I've felt. I've had conversations with some. There's one mate who I've kept from school who I know that we both shared struggles mentally, so I keep in contact with him now.
Why is it you struggled?
I think, I don't know. I think at the time I was in a relationship that I also like wasn't healthy. It was actually like, you look back now, you're like, what the hell was going on?
Really?
But I don't think you know any different when you're that age.
No.
And yeah,
because you were 18 at this time?
Yeah, at the time of that relationship, I was like 15.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I was quite young then.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like Solihull Moors, that was, when I was like 16 to 18, I was there.
And then you then felt low, went back on the medication after you left Solihull, and then what happened after that?
I think I started to learn better ways of looking after myself. I was referred to a psychiatrist, and that really didn't go well. I was put on harsher medication.
Why didn't it go well?
I didn't like the way that the medication made me feel. I felt numb. I was taking a tablet called quetiapine, and which literally knocks you out. You have it, and within 5-10 minutes of having it, you're asleep.
Really?
And that was
just a sedative almost.
Yeah, and you're just there. And I remember saying to Alex, like, I've lost myself. And I literally felt like I wasn't there.
When were you with Alex at this point? At what point did Alex come into your life?
So when I was just about to turn 19, that's when we got together.
So you had left Solihull Moors and you were in a low point. You went on medication.
Yeah.
What were you doing at that time then, work-wise? Or
yeah, so I was working.
You were lost.
I was working at Card Factory.
Full-time?
Part-time, and then I had another part-time job at Sports Direct.
So it's a hard point now, because you don't know what you're doing with your life. You're 19 years old and you're not really talking to your friends about it, and you're on medication you don't want to be on, and then you meet Alex in Card Factory. And then you start to learn to take care of yourself after you've clashed with that psychiatrist. Did you clash with them because they were just giving you medication and you were
I had
wanting to find your own way?
really bad moment one weekend where I felt so low probably all week, and it was all building up, and I just broke down in the car on like my mum and dad's drive, and Alex obviously, like, she's seen it, she called my mum out, and then my mum and my dad both have to deal with that, and I was so...
What do you mean by she called them out?
Just called them up on the phone, just said like Zach's asked for you, and she, like, my mum and my dad are amazing.
They've been a rock, haven't they?
Yeah. They very supportive. And then so the next day, like, my dad said, right, have tomorrow off work, come round, we're going to call up the psychiatrist and just see if he can take you off that medication. I called him up and he asked me, why are you calling this number? And said to double my medication, because I was obviously feeling low, and the best thing to do would be to double the medication, which I did, and then saw him a month later, and I cannot tell you the anger that I felt that he could prescribe me with something and he did not have to deal with the consequences, but everyone around me did. Alex had to see me every day, pretty low. My mum and dad would have to see me not getting better, and he could just sit there, and when I raised my voice at him, he told me to get out. And so he doesn't have to deal with the repercussions at all of that, of giving someone something they don't want to take. And you can't just come off it, because that's all sort of side effects.
Yeah. How long were you on it for?
For a few months, 6 months.
And what happened? How did you manage to get off it? Did you change?
I then didn't have a psychiatrist. I was trying to go to the GP who would lower my medication.
Were you actively doing this, or was it your parents trying to do it?
I would actively call up, which was so exhausting, having to repeat the same thing of what's happening, how are you feeling? Like, I'm feeling shit. Why are you not just recording this? Like, this is how I'm feeling. I would then be told by the GP that we can't take you off this medication. It's too much. We need a specialist to do it. They wouldn't then refer me to a specialist, or the message wouldn't get sent over to the specialist that they'd have to take me off. It was just going round in circles, to the point where I called up the doctor one day and was pretty aggressive on the phone to them. And she was very patronising, I felt, and wasn't listening to me. And I don't agree with what I said, but she asked me, how would you feel? And I said, if you were sat in front of me right now, I'd want to kill you. That's how I felt at that time.
You were just angry and unstable at that time.
Yeah, I was so low.
No one was helping you.
No one was listening. So she said, that's very rude, and just hung up the phone. My mum then called me later to say that the police had been called. She'd called the police on me, and I'd been kicked off the books of that GP. So I was without a GP. Police had been called, which they didn't do anything about it, because they got enough on their hands.
Yeah,
apparently. And I then was called my mum called 111, and they told me to get to A&E as like soon as. So
did you do that?
Yeah.
And what happened then?
I didn't want to go. We went, and it was absolutely rammed in there, and I wanted to just walk straight back out, and they said that the waiting time was hours, and I said I don't want to do that. So they were really good. They said, right, you can go and sit in the car, sit in another lobby, somewhere that's quiet, which we did. And I was with my mum and my dad, and they were, once again, just amazing. Eventually ended up speaking to someone, and that meant that I was referred to the current psychiatrist that I see, who has been so helpful.
Really?
It's like night and day.
And you still see them now?
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of them. Yeah.
And how often do you see them? Do you have checkups?
Once a month. At the start, it was once a week because I was feeling pretty low. So it was a constant checkup. But now it's once a month, and we just got me the quetiapine. He then put, I take sertraline now, which I want to stop taking. I think I've learned a lot about myself and the best ways for me to handle and combat if I am feeling low. I've got different things in place. So we're working to slowly come off medication altogether.
And for people that are watching that are struggling or in a dark place currently and not sure what to do and maybe feel alone and you know, kind of disconnected of, you went from not having a purpose, not looking after yourself, being on medication that you didn't want to be on, and then getting so frustrated that you threaten your current psychiatrist, the GP, that they throw you off the books. And from where you are now, only maybe 3-4 years down the line of now, you're self-employed, you've got your own business, you're running 110 miles, you are collected, you're social, you're juggling something. What were the main things you did? What was it you did once you it wasn't just the psychiatrist. What did you do? What did you learn?
Get out of your comfort zone. That's what running has taught me.
Is that quite hard to do though if your threat bucket's quite high? Because was it slow though?
Yeah, it's got to be slow. It's
what did you do to start? What were the few things that allowed you to?
Got to build habits. The first thing to do in the morning, make your bed.
Yeah.
Just get out of bed, make your bed, have a shower. Because when I'm feeling low, even now, if I was to feel really low, I would stop looking after myself. I would stop showering. I wouldn't want to get out of bed. I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, make the bed.
Started making your bed. You started looking after yourself.
And
is that when you started running? Was it exactly that?
Yeah, it would have been around there. Came in with the weight loss as well, eating cleaner. I think like routine, like as I said, there's something I thrive on. Me and Alex make a meal plan every week before we go do the Aldi shop. We have a set thing, right? This is what we're going to get.
Yeah.
So we know, right? Okay, we're going to eat.
For sure.
Try and eat clean for the week. And then I've got my sort of set things that I want to do in a week. I have my little plan of how I'm going to train.
And what did Alex do to help you?
Just listen. Like,
you got someone to communicate with.
Yeah, like say, I can't speak highly enough of her.
There's no real silver bullet there, but it's kind of you looked after yourself and you communicated with someone. You had someone to talk to, whether that was your parents or your partner.
Yeah.
Or if it wasn't your psychiatrist. And that helped a lot. Yeah.
I think as well, like that's the reason why I'm doing this for Calm, because some people don't have people to speak to. These like these hotlines that you can call that can give you help are massive. And that's like, whether that's the difference between someone, sort of trying to see the brighter side of a day, or if they're really feeling low, stopping them from doing something that's permanent, then that's massive. The work that people like that do to help people with mental health problems is huge. And I still, like, it's not spoken about enough still. If you broke your leg, people can see you've broken your leg, you need to rest. If your head's fried, no one can see that.
No.
People are very good at masking it.
Yeah.
And I'm massive that I never judge someone's actions, because you don't not know what they're going through. We saw a bloke just run past now and punch someone. We don't know what's going on in his head.
No.
What he's just been through.
Really? You saw one just out? If we saw.
If we saw.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So you're doing the 110 miler. You've had a bit of a rocky peak, haven't you?
Yeah, say it.
So after everything, I've just spilt coffee on my shoe. Brilliant. After all of the naivety of your training, you've topped it off by having another naive training. Now, after
this has been the stinker of all.
After this, we're going to get you a coach. Not because you don't know what you're doing, but I think because every single athlete or amateur has or should have a coach, because you might know stuff, but because you're doing it on yourself, you overthink. I think it's just very healthy.
Yeah. What
happened in your peak towards this 110 miler?
It was all going really well at the start.
It was. You were smashing it.
First mistake I made was how long this block is.
How long was it?
21 weeks.
Did you do that yourself?
Yeah.
What made you do a 21-week block?
So I did a 15-week block for my 100K. So I thought, well, I'll just keep building on it.
Do you know any ultramarathon runners as a 21-week?
No.
So was it the fact that you just thought once again that
I'm going to do more?
This is why
it's so stupid.
This is why you need to do the backyard ultra.
Yeah, it is so stupid.
But you learn.
Yeah, but I'll never make that mistake again.
You got humbled by across the road, Sainsbury's have a dodgy pack of salmon.
Yeah, that was horrible. Those 48 hours.
So
no, not in 48.
It was all going well until then, right?
Yeah, until I got the
so you're how many weeks in? You're how many weeks in at this point?
10, 11?
It's cruising. You're smashing it. Yeah. You're a little bit tired. What happened with the salmon?
Dodgy pack of salmon on the way to work.
It's a shame because 24 hours before that, I said to Zach, oh mate, do you have salmon much? And you go, no, I do a little bit. And I'm like, I was like, mate, smoked salmon's amazing. You should do it. And he goes and eats smoked salmon. And then he's not into work. I'm like, Zach, you're right. He's like, I'm unwell. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Get some salmon, I don't know.
Yeah, I knew straight away though, my stomach was so bloated after I had it.
Oh,
bad.
He drove into the car park. I was actually out there, and he just had tail in between his legs in the car. I was like, "You okay?" And he was like,
"I've had my pack of squashies though."
Yeah. Oh man.
Give me some sugar.
So, yeah. So, you were planning on doing that week. How long?
That was meant to be a 100-mile week.
And that was going to be your biggest week?
Yeah.
And when did you get ill then?
On the Wednesday.
You were into it?
Yeah.
And how are you spacing that 100 miles out?
So I was doing a hill workout on the Monday, which was 15K on the treadmill, 1K on, 1K off, full incline. Tuesday would have been an easy 20K run. And then
it's basically just 20K. This is almost like fish and a rice cake, but in running terms of just 20K every day, basically.
It is, yeah. Very repetitive.
So, and then you got ill, and then you then recovered after 48 hours, recovered. You're still unwell, right? But you don't realize it, sort of thing, right? Because it's not that easy, I suppose. Yeah. And then what was your thought process then? Because you're panicking then. You're 11 weeks in?
I got to catch up. I missed 3 days of training from that.
Which is the longest you've missed in how long?
Yeah. Over a year, probably.
Right, so you're freaking out at this point?
Yeah.
Right.
Overthinking, I'm a massive overthinker.
Did you communicate that with anyone?
Yeah, Alex.
But did you communicate that with anyone who runs?
No.
And then what happened after that?
I ran 35K on Saturday. I ran 25K on the Sunday. The next week, on the Wednesday, I thought, shin's hurting a bit. Got out of the shower there, thought, shin hurts a bit. I'll just keep running. Ran 35K on that Saturday. Shins are hurting a bit. I'll be all right. Then I've been done since that. Never recovered.
Pain's a beautiful thing. It can really indicate something's wrong.
Yeah, but it was just a little niggle.
This is exactly how this could have been. So you ran through pain. The pain was, at what point did it start getting above a 5 out of 10?
Not that first week. That first week I could push through. It was after that. Once I'd, after that 35K run, which was actually probably the worst run I've ever done in my life, I didn't want to do it. and I just forced myself
I remember
to
you
do it.
posting that and saying how hard it was. And you also did that at like a 5:30 pace?
5-minute pace.
5-minute pace?
Yeah. Mm.
Mental.
Yeah.
That's mental.
But I mean, I think I knew straight after that I was like,
you were just doing a little training run
damage,
with hurting shins and just doing it a 5-minute mental. Okay, so you got injured. We're now 2 weeks out. So you're week 19?
Yeah.
And what's the furthest you ran between week 12 and week 19?
Would have been the Malverns. No. Yeah, week after the Malverns. That was a good couple of weeks of training.
That was good, mate.
Did 33k plus 2, and then the week after I did 40.
And the Malverns, this is what's also crazy, is throughout all of this prep, arguably, all of these years of running, how many times have you ran with someone?
Barely ever. Like
the Malverns was pretty much
that's the longest time that I've ever ran with someone, apart from Ollie on the half marathon. Actually,
yeah. Did that? So you did a half marathon with Ollie to support him. We did the Malverns at 33k. How were your shins when you did that?
Felt all right. Ibuprofen before. I think it also helped that you were there.
Yeah.
Distracted. I didn't feel anything. Even the walk back afterwards, I didn't feel anything.
I mean, the climb was crazy.
Yeah.
And then now you're averaging 40k a week?
Yeah, I've done 20k this week. The cold hasn't helped.
No, you then got unwell.
Yeah.
Probably run down. And there's obviously no fitness you can gain now. So you're going to do what next week? You're going to do... You're in with physio, so you're in with John on Tuesday.
Going to see him on Tuesday, see what he says.
You're doing sodium testing the week afterwards. Yeah. We're going to get that done. Why would you do that?
Well, see how much sodium we're losing in our sweat.
Especially you. I think you're...
Yeah, I sweat a hell of a lot.
He like after the Malvern just had like scaly white...
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Not good for the eczema. Really not good for the eczema. Yeah, I lose a lot of salt in my sweat, I reckon.
It'll be interesting to find that out, right?
Yeah, it will be. I reckon it'll be towards the higher end, but we'll see. But for the next couple of weeks, just chilling a bit, really. I'll do probably 50k this week coming, and then 30 before the race.
Yeah.
Like Monday to Friday, and then...
And the race starts at 8 a.m?
8 a.m.
Your family are coming, I'm coming to support.
Yeah.
And then we're going to watch you throughout all of it. I'm going to meal prep all the food. We're going to have different... We're going to have mash. Yeah, we're going to have... chef. The most B-Tech chef ever. Gordon Ramsay would be disgusted by it. You got, mash, you got rice, you got pasta, any sort of carbohydrate.
You get hot cross buns.
How many Lucozade do you have in 24 hours?
22.
Brilliant.
Shitting myself.
And then I'll jump in at whatever time, and then we're going to cruise you to the end, mate. Yeah. What is it you're trying to finish it in?
Once again, aim for the stars, land on the moon. Let's try and get it done in 24 hours. That's a competitive time, I think. That could be podium time.
Which is averaging at what pace? 8 minute?
Yeah, 8 minute pace. Yeah, 7:55, something like that.
What's the furthest you ran in 100k? Is that the first?
100k is the furthest.
And then you're now doing 180?
Yeah. It's only 80k more.
And just quickly, just to finish off, when you're in that depth, you're in that 150k mark, and it's pitch black. What is it? Where's your head at? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's my little sounder, mate, when it's tough. No, where does my head go? Wow. Yeah, when I was running the 100 kilometer and I had 5k to go, and it feels like it probably wasn't like this, but it felt like as soon as my watch ticked over with like 5k to go, this song came on, and
oh, I know this song.
Yeah, this song. I
thought you were about to sing it then. What song is it?
No, I'm not singing it.
What song is it?
I actually don't even know the name of the song. No, it's Daughter something.
Yeah, we'll put it on the...
No, we won't, because I can't listen to it, mate.
No, as in we'll put the name of it
on. We'll put the name on the thing, yeah.
Can you not listen to it at all?
No, but I'll have it in my 100-mile playlist.
So the song came on your phone?
The song came on in my headphones.
Yeah.
And then I'm just bawling my eyes out as I'm running, 5k to go, and there was a guy in front. I was just chasing him down. I was a nutter.
What were you bawling your eyes out about?
I'm just thinking like of tough times that I've gone through, and I think what was in my mind is all the sacrifice that say Alex has made, supporting throughout my training, my family being there. I think the support that they've given me, I feel very, very lucky to have been supported so well. And just some dark places that I've been to in my mind, and it's like, oh my God, you're going to achieve this amazing thing. You're so close. It's just overwhelming. It's such an overwhelming feeling. So
what about when you're not close and you're like 80k and you're in the
next station, next checkpoint? Like that's all it is.
So you're not even thinking about anything with life. You're just thinking checkpoint, family,
my mind might
checkpoint,
wander.
family.
Yeah, my mind might wander a bit, but I can't say I have like conscious thoughts while I'm running. It is just your one purpose, and that's why I think I love that day so much. My purpose that day was to run. That's pretty good, isn't it? I think anyone who gets to do that is pretty lucky.
Yeah,
you got to move your body for 12 hours.
100%. We definitely have to do a relay. We definitely got to do like a bit
amazing.
Got to do that. I've got to sort my kilometers out competing with a 100-mile guy, mate. 2 weeks time, 24 hours, sub 24 hours.
Yeah, let's go for it.
And then you'll promise me you'll get a coach.
Yeah, we'll get a coach. Fine, whatever. Be self-coached.
If there was one thing you had to finish on for the viewers, and if they were looking at doing a marathon, what is a weird, quirky thing that you do or have done that helps you in any way doing a marathon?
Squashies.
I thought it was big.
Eat squashies.
The normal original ones.
The original ones.
How many packs of those do you go through? Like when you're running, when you're doing like a half marathon block?
I think we've got for a half marathon.
If you're just doing would you bring squashies in a half?
Yeah, I did with Ollie. He didn't want any, so I had more for me.
How many are you going to go through in the 100-miler?
About 10, 12 bags, I think, is written down. We'll see if that gets down with all that mash you're cooking up.
Need some savoury, man. You can't be. Those teeth won't be staying for long if you're slamming squashies.
That's all right. Get veneers, can't you?
Sure. Yeah. See you in the dark, just like glowing.
Yeah.
Zach Mealing, everyone, ultramarathon runner.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.